Another night where the storyline was as much those on the sidelines as the baseline or the foul line, or in that case, the three-point line for Dante DiVincenzo. The Knicks emptied their tank on a back-to-back before the Pelicans finally hit the gas. Trey Murphy led the way, 115-92 the final on the Garden floor. Knicks go down to defeat in the second half of a back-to-back as they lose to the Pelicans. And the Knicks now 35-24 on the season, 20-10 at the Garden. As we welcome you inside our Delta MSG studios from the Garden alongside Alan Hahn, I'm John Giannone. Wally Szczerbiak will join us in a moment. You said it on the air. It was a game for the Knicks. They played gamely in the first half, but you got the feeling when the Pelicans scored the first 10 points of the third quarter, it would be an uphill climb, and it became Mount Everest. It
absolutely felt like it, right? And that's when you're missing so much offense like the Knicks were missing in this game, especially after with Jalen Brunson out of the game. Who was your playmaker? Who was going to be your scorer? They were searching all night for that consistent guy, and it just didn't pop up. First half was the right kind of ugly. It's exactly what you wanted. The Pelicans didn't want to be in a dogfight. First game of a back-to-back for them. But for the Knicks, it's exactly what you wanted, scratch and claw. That third quarter, building didn't have a lot of energy. The Knicks didn't have enough energy, and the Pelicans had just enough energy to keep them at bay.
Yeah, the Knicks only trailed by 7 heading to the fourth quarter after trailing by 1 at halftime. But 41-25 was the difference in the fourth quarter, and that's where we saw the tank empty.
Yeah, and it's Trey Murphy III got going from the three-point range and really got his game going. And the three ball was a huge difference in this game all along. And you also noticed, too, Zion Williamson started to go into attack mode early fourth quarter, and that was their way of just establishing you don't have a guy that can guard him, and this is how we're going to open up a lead. But they just had too much, and a lot of it was the shot making, and it's hard to fault any type of effort from the Knicks in this game, because what you also saw, though, and that has also been part of the culture of this team, is that they did not give up. They did not let go of the rope. They continued to fight, even when you could just see the Pelicans just had too much for them. They were going to have to put the Knicks away, and that has been part of the culture of this team. And the one thing at least you could say that the Knicks did bring tonight was effort.
And that's the number there that matters. The 18 three-pointers made. They shot better than 50% did the Pelicans from both the field and the three-point line. And it was a night where the bench points were even, but everything else really wasn't in a 115-92 win over the Knicks here at the Garden. As we welcome in Wally Szczerbiak, courtside here at the Garden. And Wally, we talked about it literally and figuratively. It was going to be a tall order for the Knicks tonight. And as the game played out, that's exactly what we saw.
Yeah, it was a valiant effort. I think the Knicks poured their heart out on this basketball floor. It was just tough for them to create good looks at the basket. And that's why a guy like Julius Randle and also Jalen Brunson are so important. That's why Jalen Brunson's an MVP candidate. When he's out there on the floor, the game is so much easier for his teammates. The Knicks were hoisting some tough threes, and I didn't mind the shot selection. It was just tough to get good looks at the basket. They made 14 threes. Dante DiVincenzo, when he's open, he's going to knock him down. He was just contested on a lot of those shot attempts. I loved what I saw from Bojan Bogdanovic. I thought he played really hard out there. I thought he brought exactly what he showed he can do out there on the floor. He was aggressive taking the ball to the basket. He was aggressive hunting his shots, and he got to 20 points. He's going to knock down more and more shots as he continues to get more comfortable with this Knicks offense. But you have to give that Pelicans team a lot of credit. They knocked down 18 threes. They shot over 50% from the three-point line. That's not easy to do. A lot of those shots were contested. The Knicks defense was good. They earned this game with their three-point shooting.
And while you talk about what the Knicks were able to do or not able to do, the scoring in the paint, I can't remember the last time I saw the Knicks under 30 points in the paint. They had 26 points in the paint in this game, and that's a lot. Like you said, you credit the Pelicans. So much length, and a lot of it switchable, and they just really made it difficult for any type of drives to the basket, almost forcing you to have to live from three-point range, and really weren't able to do it. But I want to follow up on what you was talking about with Bogdanovic, because even before the game, you and I were talking. There's one guy that was in the lineup tonight that had averaged 20 points a game in a full season, and that was him. So when you're looking for scoring, he was somebody that can provide it. We always say, like, you win or you learn, right? So what do we learn from a game like this? Is it that he has that in him still, and if they can get him into a higher level of conditioning, that's a player you're going to be able to rely on off the bench to get you that kind of offense.
Well, that was a 4-part question, so I'll try to answer every part of it, Alan. The first, we're going to start with the points in the paint. Listen, you need the personnel to score in the paint, and the Knicks were not able to penetrate the defense of the New Orleans Pelicans. We alluded to this was a very big basketball team. Zion Williamson was the tallest starter, the shortest starter at 6'6". So it was tough for the Knicks to get buckets on inside, and then getting back to Bogdanović. Bogdanović, I love what he brings. He brings a scoring mentality. In a game like this, he looked to really score the basketball. A guy like Alec Burks, that's what he has to do for this Knicks team. He's struggling to shoot the ball right now since the trade, and the Knicks need his offense. But Bojan Bogdanović, he's going to make a few turnovers. He's going to, fall on the ground a few times trying to attack the basket and make plays, but at least he's playing aggressive. It's not easy to be in a new system. It's not easy to be learning a new system on the fly, but I love his intent. His intent is right where it needs to be. We know what a good shooter he is. We know what a good offensive player he is, and he is in attack mode, and that's what he needs to do right now for this New York Knicks basketball team. Hopefully he can stay healthy, he can overcome that calf injury, but overall I love what I saw from him. And if the Pelicans would have had an off shooting night from the three-point line, the Knicks would have been right in this game and had an opportunity to steal it.
Yeah, Alan, we kind of saw what was going to happen tonight because we knew without Brunson and without Hartenstein and, of course, without Randall and Anunoby and Robinson, I sound like Tom Thibodeau, right. We knew that the certain players would be under the spotlight, and one of them was going to be a guy whose name and personality on this team matches, and it's Josh Hart.
Yep.
Here's a guy who had 15 points, 10 rebounds, and a guy who also took one heck of a wallop 5 minutes into the game from Zion Williamson.
Yeah, with the bloody nose right out of the gate, and he let everybody know about it, but he just kept bringing it, and that's what Josh Hart does. And he was taking on Zion Williamson from the very beginning, giving up a lot of LBs in that matchup, but still not backing off from him. I thought he had a really strong first half, in fact, defensively, and just trying to affect, let's make this an ugly game. Let's muddy it up, and let's make the Pelicans frustrated against us. And while this is now a one-part question, but I'll give you multiple choice. No, I'm just kidding. but honestly, that is part of, I think, we've talked about this, right? Again, off the loss, but still, culture of this team very much intact as you watched guys like Hart and how hard they played in a game like this despite being undermanned.
Another 40-minute night for Josh Hart.
Yeah.
He does everything out there to help his team, just compete and be in there. And I love the defensive effort, especially in that first half. I mean, the Knicks were very scrappy. They were just, ganging to the ball and getting deflections, making Zion Williamson very uncomfortable. I mean, Josh Hart's teeing up Zion Williamson, giving up 50 pounds at least,
right.
Giving up 3-4 inches at least, and just sticking his nose right in there with one of the dominant post scorers in the NBA. It was just a valiant effort by this team. I just wish the Pelicans could have missed a few of those shots, because Trey Murphy, a 35% three-point shooter, when he's knocking down shots 28 feet from the basket, shot 6 for 11, made huge threes. I'll go back to the start of the fourth quarter. It was a 7-point game. Bogdanović drives the lane, kicks it out to Alec Burks. The three goes in and out. You go down to the other end of the floor, a three by the New Orleans Pelicans, and then an and one the next possession later for the New Orleans Pelicans. That pushed the lead to 13, and that's when you could kind of see the body language of the Knicks say, I don't know if this is our night. I don't know if we're going to be able to overcome this 13-point deficit.
Yeah, and as you mentioned, you wanted to see the Pelicans maybe miss a few more of those threes.
Yes.
You needed the Knicks to hit a few more of those threes, and it was Donte DiVincenzo, Wally, that put up as many as he possibly could. I mean, you talk about a guy that's going to need an ice pack on that shoulder. 18 that he put up in this game. That's 4 shy of the franchise records set by, not surprising, J.R. Smith once took 22 threes in a game. But still, the three-point shot for DiVincenzo has become a big part of, obviously, his offense. And you don't mind him taking those threes? What did you think of the attempts that he took?
I love the attempts. Every time he shoots, I think it's going in. And, he had to take some contested ones, and so did Bojan Bogdanović. But I will live with both those guys releasing that beautiful jump shot whenever they feel like they have the opportunity to release that shot. And obviously the goal is to get them open looks, but that's not easy because the defenses are trying to take that away. Donte DiVincenzo has played outstanding basketball. He's on pace to break the franchise record for threes in a season in a New York Knicks uniform. He has absolutely been an outstanding acquisition in the offseason. He's fit. He gels perfectly with Josh Hart, with Jalen Brunson, and all his teammates. And I love seeing this guy just play and shoot the basketball here on the Garden floor. He's been a great addition to this team, and he's even going to be maximized more when all the team gets healthy. When Anunoby gets back in the lineup, when Randall gets back in the lineup, hopefully, and when Brunson is in the lineup, he really benefits from the open looks he gets from those guys. But even when they weren't in the lineup, he still made 7 threes tonight. Actually, 8 threes tonight, and that is a credit to just how great of a shooter he is.
Good stuff, Wally. Thanks as always. Alan, when you size up tonight in the context of what happened over the last 27 or 28 hours, how nice is tomorrow going to feel for the Knicks to not have to look at a basketball?
And you think about it also, though, no rest for the weary. But it also really tells you, with the critical call late last night, I was saying this to Mike Breen, how big now that win is for the Knicks because of the reality of today without Jalen Brunson and knowing it was a back-to-back. So getting that win last night, there's that gift that you needed. You got it. You get a day off. And then, of course, here we go. You got Golden State, Cleveland. That's a big game Sunday. The hits keep on coming because the season keeps rolling.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, 5 of the next 6 games against teams from the East.